Hello everyone, so today I'll be talking about small form factor computers and different types that you can get. So right here on the left, this is a Nook Pc, an Intel NUC Pc. So what these computers are basically a small form factor computers with laptop motherboards basically, and they're modified to take desktop graphics cards and stuff like that. Some of them even have SATA ports for storage devices. I don't think this one does. This one is an Intel NUC 9 NUC 9 i9QNX. So this is the top of the line small factor computer from Intel, and it has a very powerful Intel i9-9980HK processor. So this is a laptop processor, and you could put anywhere from 16 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes. And I think it has two M.2 NVMe slots for storage devices, so you can have anywhere from 500 gigabytes to, I guess, 2 terabytes for each M.2.NVMe storage device. And M.2 NVMe devices don't take up a lot of space. They're just like they're smaller than RAM chips, and the type of memory that this type of computer uses are, I think, DDR4L memory modules. I think it's 204 pins, so they're like laptop memory as well. And it comes with a built-in Intel UHD 630 onboard GPU. However, you can add a full-size PCIe X16 graphics card in this small box right here. But this is a pretty tall box, but in terms of the width, it's not very wide. And it comes with a very good 500 watt 80 plus platinum power supply. So this is for a small form factor computer, and they range in price from anywhere from $1,500 to $3,400 depending on the configuration. And the dimension is about 4 inches by 10 inches by 9 inches. So I guess it's 10 inches tall, 4 inches wide, and 9 inches long. So that's 10.16 centimeters by 25.9 centimeters by 22.86 centimeters for those who want to know the units in metric, or SI. The weight is about 6 pounds or 2.72 kilograms without GPU, of course. So let's take a look at it. So this is a Intel NUC 9 Extreme kit. It's called a Ghost Canyon. So it says the pros about this is it's very small. It has it's nice and compact, and it's almost as powerful as a desktop. Well, it is more powerful than a lot of desktops also. And unlike other Nook PCs, the power supply is inside of the case, which is good. So it says the bad stuff about it is quite expensive for what you get, but it's very compact. That's what's good about it. It can only be oriented in one way. So this is a very modular type of computer. You don't need any screwdrivers to open this up. It could all be done by hand very easily. So it says it has two M.2 NVMe storage slots, like I said before, and it uses laptop. It has two laptop style SODIMM slots as well. That's a very powerful CPU. It's an 8-core, 16-thread Intel i9-9980HK processor with 2.4 gigahertz. Laptop CPUs typically run at lower frequency than their desktop counterparts, usually. So they have a i5 version and a i7 version for the Nook 9 as well. And these will probably cost you less money, of course, because the processors are less expensive. And usually the processor is one of the most expensive components of any computer build or computer, basically. The CPU is basically the heart of the machine, just like the engine in your car is a heart of your car, heart of that machine, or those machines. Okay, these prices here aren't the prices for graphics cards now. This is I think this was review came out in 2019, so this is 2019 prices for this kind of graphics card. So right now graphics cards are expensive, so they would cost significantly more. See how compact it is? Everything's modular. So this component right here is for your CPU and motherboard and everything. This also has your RAM and your M.2 NVMe SSDs. So this part is here is for your graphics card. That's where you mount it. And the front just comes out like this. It's very modular, as I said. And this is the front. This is how it looks like when you take out the front panel. It looks like that. That's for your that's your motherboard, CPU, and everything else. And it goes into this PCIe X16 slot, as you can see. So this thing here is basically your computer, and that's pretty neat. This thing is so modular, and everything's so like tidy and neat and everything. That's for your that's your motherboard. That's your GPU, and they just go in just like that. If you just remove this, you could get another unit. Let's say they come out with a faster CPU in the future, you could just stick that right in like a graphics card. It's very neat. And here's the fan thing. This is kind of like a laptop fan, and you could just take this out and replace it with another fan assembly. That's the battery, I think. That's the SSD. That's slot 1 and slot 2. 2 slots. There's 2 memory slots as well, as you can see. See, that's it. This is for your motherboard. This is for your graphics card. And that's your power supply right there at the bottom. This is not a standard power supply, and if this does break, it's going to cost you a lot of money to replace this. And the power supply that they used in this computer is basically top of the line. So they have different types of 80 plus. They got 80 plus white, 80 plus bronze, 80 plus silver, 80 plus gold, and 80 plus platinum. Platinum has probably the best capacitors and the parts in there. That's why platinum is the most expensive, the best, basically. And platinum power supply should last you a very, very long time. They probably have solid state capacitors in there. So here's a test that the PC Magazine rigged for this computer compared to others with similar configurations. MSI Trident. This is a desktop CPU, by the way. This is a desktop as well. It's comparing it with this, which uses a laptop CPU. Not too bad, it's just that higher is better. So look at how good this is. Except MSI Trident X is faster. It has a much better processor, running at a higher frequency. And a better graphics card, by the way, than this. This is a 280 RTX, and this is a RTX 270. But still, it does pretty good. For Cinebench, not so good. I guess the desktop processors are faster, by the way. And this is using a better graphics card. And that's what determines 3D tests, by the way. So, yeah, this kind of does suffer here in this range. This is the best, second best, third, fourth, fifth comes in fourth place. So for this, lower is better. Not too bad. Coming in on third place. First. No, actually, let me see. First, second, third. So second place. 3D Mark graphics tests. Not so good here. Definitely, these have better graphics cards and much better CPUs, being desktop CPUs. So this is definitely faster. So it does kind of like suffer here. This is a Nook Pc also, with a CPU that's less than that in terms of performance. So this comes in, let's see what comes in first. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth comes in fourth place. Uni-Engine Super Position. I think this is a 3D type of test. So that's for the Skydiver score, and there's also First Strike, which is more intensive. And let's see where it comes out in First Strike. This is first, second, third, fourth. Fourth also. It's not too good there. So I guess if you want more performance, a desktop CPU is definitely preferred. So let's see for Uni-Engine superposition test. So it's higher is better. Okay, so that's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay, comes in third place. Not bad. This is on 720p and on 1080p. Let's see. First, second, third. This isn't even there. I guess it doesn't work. So third place also. Far Cry. This would be a real gaming benchmark for a game, for an actual game. Not just a benchmark, but an actual test. So this is 1080p, the red. That's 1440p, the blue. And in the yellow it's 4K. So in 1080p it comes out in let's see which place, out of 4 computers. This is first, second, third, fourth. So this comes in last on 1440p. Let's see which comes in first. First, second, third, fourth. So same, basically. So this is first, second, third, fourth. Okay, it comes in fourth place on that game. Rise of Tomb Raider. Okay, first, second, third, fourth place again. It's going to be the same for other resolutions as well. Not surprising. So it says in this article, running this half an hour, running a game like Tomb Raider, it didn't go above 70 degrees C. Let's see how much 70 degrees C is in Fahrenheit. That's 158 degrees, basically. That's not too bad. Usually laptops get about that kind of temperature. And it says it wasn't very loud when it was running at its peak performance, which is good. Having something loud is not good, especially when the computer is very loud because it gets hot. That's not cool. Okay. So you don't need to know anything about computers to use this thing and to maintain it. Everything's just modular. It just comes out like Lego blocks, you know. So that's a good thing about this, but it is expensive. So if you have the money, this would be something that you could look at if you got a lot of money to burn. And there's also another option. You could build something like this just by buying the parts and putting it together. And unlike this thing, this one uses a desktop CPU. And for this model right here, I just compiled. You can get it with 32 gigabytes. You could get 64 as well. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want. So anything from 16 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes. But for this model, I chose 32. You could actually put in 2.5 inch SSDs as well in this case. But I didn't include that. I didn't include any 2.5 inch SSDs when I factored in this price point. So this would come with a 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD, a Samsung, I think, which is one of the better SSDs, because Samsung makes their own NAND memory, so you could expect pretty good. You could expect a pretty good SSD because they make their own memory modules. They have their own silicon foundries to make their chips and stuff. And for the video, it's the same as this onboard. That is, it's the Intel UHD 630, and you could add any graphics card in this thing, any large graphics card. It would fit on this computer. And the operating system for the Nook Pc is Windows 10, and this is Windows 10 as well. You could get Windows 10 Home or Windows 10 Professional, and this one comes with a 600 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, a full size ATX power supply. So if you add Windows 10 into the price, you can expect, if you, depending on what you want, if you want Windows Professional, it will cost $150 more. So I guess $950 to $1,050. If you want Home is about $100. So it'll be $900 to $1,000 for this build right here. And the dimensions for this is about 8.74 inches by 11.22 inches by 7.13 inches. So let me see, 8.74 inches is perhaps this is the width of it. and 11.22 inches is the length, and the height is 7.13 inches, like this way. So this is X, Y, and Z axis. Okay, so 22.2 centimeters wide, 28.49 centimeters in length, and 18.11 centimeters in height. So I added up all the components and how much they would weigh if you had a motherboard, CPU fan, power supply, and M.2 SSD in there. So it would weigh about 11.77 pounds or 5.35 kilograms without a GPU. So this weighs a little bit more than the Nook PC, about 5.77 pounds less, and let's see how much that comes out to. So it's roughly 50% more in weight than this, basically. So let's see what the performance would be like if you compare the two together. So this is the Nook PC, and this is the other small form factor PC that I just compiled. So this is in 10th place. This is 10th place out of 1,290 different types of computers, CPUs that is. And this comes in 104th place. So this is many times faster than this in terms of like in this benchmark. This ranks in 10th place. This ranks in 104th place. But nevertheless, this is pretty good. But this is a lot better. But in terms of actual gaming performance, like you saw here, it's not going to be like 10 times better. It's probably going to be like, let's see, in terms of percentage. See which one has it. The MSI Trident. I'll compare it with that, okay? That's for the MSI Trident for Skydiver score. So it's about 1.12 times better. The MSI Trident using a desktop CPU compared to that. It's not like 10 times better. And in terms of percentage, so it's about 16% better. Okay. That's what it is basically. So it is better. This is going to be better, of course, than this in terms of just raw CPU power, because it's running at a higher frequency than this, and this is 10th generation. This is 9th generation. Adds the same number of cores, same number of threads, but this runs at a much higher power setting than this, of course, because this is desktop CPU. In terms of memory bandwidth, it's not that much better. It's negligible. Okay, graphics max frequency. Oh, this is actually slower. I don't understand why, but it really won't make a difference because the numbers are so small. So yeah, so you can get this. You can put this together. You could buy the parts from anywhere and put it together. And I'll leave the links in the video description. Okay, now I'll be talking about the differences between this and this. Well, this has, I think, two 80mm fans that pull air in from the front, which is pretty good, I think. This has a 120mm fan pulling air in from the front, which is also good. Just one single large fan, and that's for the cooling system. And this uses a laptop cooling solution to cool the CPU. This uses a standard fan for a CPU. This has a standard CPU fan, low profile fan in there, which is also good. And this has a laptop processor, a high-end laptop processor. This comes with a pretty good this is also a high-end desktop processor, but not the highest end. This is not an i9. This is not an i9 like that. i9 is better than i7, of course, but this is a later generation, a 10th generation. This is 9th generation. And as for the RAM, you could put the same amount of RAM. You could put up to 64 gigabytes in both, but in this configuration I picked 32 gigabytes, and this one has two M.2 NVMe slots. This has one M.2 NVMe slot. However, it does have SATA ports on the motherboard, and you could put two 2.5-inch SSDs in this computer. It's in the side, so you can put it in the side if you want, through the SATA ports. So that's the difference for the storage capacities. And the video card, what it comes with, the onboard is a Intel UHD 630, and this build also comes with the same onboard graphic solution as that. So for this one, it comes with Windows 10 Professional Standard. For this one, you could add Windows 10 Pro or Windows 10 Home, depending on what you need. So for Home, it's about probably $100. A Professional, maybe it could be anywhere from $150 to $200. Depends really. You'd add additional $100 or $150 into the price. And for this, so if you wanted Professional, it'd be about $950 to $1,000. So if you wanted Home, then it'd be anywhere from maybe $900 to $1,000, something like that. And the power supply here is not a standard power supply. So if this does break, it is going to cost you a lot of money to replace it. But this is a very good quality power supply. It's an 80 plus platinum. This one is a 600 watt 80 plus bronze, and this is a standard ATX power supply. So this is going to be easy to replace, and it could be replaced cheaply with any ATX power supply. And you could always upgrade the power supply in the future if you need it. If you need a 750 watt power supply, you could swap the power supply out and put in a new one. It's very easy to do. And this one is, of course, takes up less surface area because it's only 4 inches in width, and the length is 9 inches. So 4 by 9 is the area in terms of what it takes in surface area. So 36 square inches, and this one will take up about let's see, 8.74 times 11.22. So in terms of surface area, this will take 98 square inches. And let me do that again for the other one, so we can compare it. For this one, it will take 36 square inches. So in terms of surface area, it's 2.72 times more for this compared to that. It will take up in surface area. So that's the thing about it. So it's just the way it is. So this takes up more surface area. So this is X and the Y axis, and this takes up less surface area. Okay, and this thing weighs more at 11.77 pounds, and this one weighs less at only 6 pounds. But if you add a graphics card, it's gonna weigh more, of course, for both. It's gonna add to the weight, because graphics cards could be quite heavy depending on what you put in there. So this is cheaper, this is more expensive. And when I'm talking about 1500, I'm just talking about the base model, which comes with about 16 gigabytes and maybe a 500 gigabyte M.2 drive. But it does come with Windows Pro Standard, but still very pricey. But this is very compact, this is not compact. This weighs more, this weighs less. This is modular, this is not modular. So that's the difference. So depending on what you want and how much disposable income you have, you could pick either one if you need a new computer, if you want. But for me, I'm looking to kind of like replace my old i7 4790K computer. I also have another i5. It's an i5 it's a 3590K or 3570K or something like that. Yeah, I want to kind of like replace that with a smaller unit. So I've been looking at these two computers to see which one I want to get. And I do need to get two of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the graphics card out of my old computers and just put it into these things. So I have a 1070 in one of the computers, and another I also have a 1060 as well, and a 970 GeForce GTX. Just swap out the graphics card and just put them in here. So I don't know, for me, maybe I'll get both. I'll get one for this, I'll replace one for one office. I'll take this. For the other office, I'll probably take this. So yeah, so it really depends on what you need and what you want and your disposable income. So anyways, thanks for watching. By Ace 1000KS 1975 signing out.